Thank you, Rima, for the invitation. The ocular symptoms of a systemic disease may be coexisting, may be preceding the systemic disease or later associated. So I'll be sharing few patients who had the disease with the systemic and some prior to the systemic disease. This is a patient which is classical, a doctor who presented to me with these lesions and somebody had diagnosed as toxo. The VDL report the doctor was carrying was negative. The doctor was an HIV positive patient. We suspected syphilis, so we repeated the VDRL and it came out positive. And after 1 month of treatment with penicillin, the lesion has started to resolve, but the vision didn't recover completely. So as Mudit has shown that the HIV with syphilis is a great mimicker and can be the presenting disease. Here's another patient who presented, not a known case of HIV, who presented with this lesion, had been treated with steroids for choroiditis. By the biomarker showed both HIV and VDL positive. The next case, the 12-year-old female who presented to a dermatologist with rashes, developed weakness, fever, pain in the abdomen, and blurring of vision. So when I checked the patient had this picture and was diagnosed with pancreatitis, a presenting feature of SLE with pancreatitis. So we made a differential diagnosis of pustular retinopathy or a retinitis. The patient was given steroids, cyclophosphamide, and then put on MMF. It was the initial OCT presentation. The patient resolved in 1 month's time with a 6/9 vision. So in SLE, the SLE retinopathy can be the presenting feature. Sometimes the markers may not be positive, the antiphospholipid may not be positive, but become positive later. So there are the various case reports of pustular retinopathy, one from Shankar Nethralaya and one from Saudi and one from other countries, which has similar picture showing of the similar presentation. The next, the commonest cases which we see is uveitis with arthritis, and the commonest being ankylosing, JIA, and the spondyloarthropathy, and the vasculitis. So basically, if you have a patient of HLA-B27, you can have psoriatic, reactive, inflammatory bowel disease, and ankylosing spondylitis. And the lesions can be diverse. Besides acute, you can have conjunctivitis, keratitis, scleritis. So basically, the classical picture is that a patient presents with one eye active uveitis, maybe alternating with the other eye. The classical features of fibrin and maybe a hypopyon, and you go into remission between 2 attacks. Now, I want to advise the patient, does the patient have a risk for spondyloarthropathy or has an associated one? So 66% of the HLA-B27 patient will develop spondyloarthropathy, but 6% of the HLA negative will also develop spondyloarthropathy. So we ask all patients for a history of back pain, which relieves with on waking up. It's early in the morning, and if the patient has, then we refer to the rheumatologist for further evaluation. In JIA, we have 6 types of JIAs. One is the systemic onset. The classical one is the white eye with oligoarthritis, which is ANA positive. And then one entity which we have JIA with is enthesitis HLA-B27, which presents as acute red light like the adult HLA-B27. So in our series, we found that majority of patients with the acute anterior red eyes, one with the enthesitis rated, the HLA-B27 was a higher picture, because now as we are doing ANA with immunofluorescence, we are picking up more patients. Majority of the patients with GIA have a acute red eye. So I was in a dilemma. A patient of 6 years old presented with bilateral red eye with the limb. The anterior uveitis, no cataract, no BSK, no synechiae. Both the HLA-B27 and ANA was positive at a enthesitis in the heel. So we started thinking it is a HLA-B27 uveitis. We started the topical steroid and NSAIDs, but the child had a recurrence on tapering the steroid and it did not resolve. So we started methotrexate. So both the ANA, the chronic uveitis, and the acute were present in this patient. The other lesion which we present is the scleritis. When you have a scleritis, you must think of a GPA, which is the commonest. This patient had no lung or renal involvement, only a saddle node with a sinus involvement. Initially, we gave methotrexate, but did not resolve, and we added rituximab. In about a year's time, the scleritis took time to resolve. So basically, scleritis may be present with granulomatous and polyangiitis, rheumatoid arthritis, relapsing polychondritis, SLE, IBD, and even in an orbital inflammatory syndrome, when you have a posterior scleritis, remember IgG4 disease can cause a posterior scleritis. I want to show a case which is quite complicated, but it shows that the diagnosis may be made down the year, not in the biomarkers may not be positive. So when I saw the child, the patient was 11-year-old male, had arthritis at 9 months, was diagnosed as systemic onset GI with fever, was started on methotrexate, but after a few years, the parent shifted to alternate therapy, and he came back with multiple fractures, found to be severely osteopenic at 7 years. At 7 years, the patient was started on tocilizumab for 1 year. The disease flared up after stopping tocilizumab, started again. At the age of 10 years, the child presented with GI infection, septic shock, and an episode of red eye. So I went and saw the patient. The patient had heel uveitis with posterior sinus. This is my first interaction with the patient. The patient developed intolerance to methotrexate, was given leflunomide. So the patient on regular follow-up had 6/9 vision with refraction and a posterior synechia. Suddenly, the patient developed a hypopyon with anterior uveitis and a vision loss. On examination of the fundus, the left eye showed the retinal involvement, the vascular blocks, which resolved with steroids and immunosuppression. This is November of 2016, when the patient resolved with intravenous steroids and adalimumab. And then the patient started creatinine going up, and the ACE level now repeated showed elevated. And the patient bone biopsy showed granuloma, and the renal biopsy showed these granulomas, which is suggestive of sarcoidosis. So the early onset sarcoidosis, which is present, didn't have the markers of Blausen, but the patient developed sarcoidosis. So just to show that systemic disease can present at a later date. Thank you so much.